DLC.
Jill, let's start with a game we talked about last week, but we talked about it looking in from afar. All of us so
Let me
anticipating what this
in.
game is going to be. You've actually played Hades 2.
Yes, I've actually played Hades 2, and I literally got the code the day before they announced that they were like closing down the playtest on Monday. So I'm like, let me in. I'm gonna play really quick. Hades 2 is so brilliant. I'm not gonna lie. It is more Hades. I am a huge Greek mythology nerd. So I did play this on stream, and most of my stream is just me going like, that's an interesting interpretation of this person. um it is smooth, it works. I feel like the combat is even better, even more fluid. It gives you even more options to go through than the first one. And I don't know if that's just because I played it so long ago and I was playing on a Switch or whatever it was, but it just feels so good. I love the story. It's starting to drip feed. You don't get to play all of it during the playtest, but you do get a sort of sense of the main character is the youngest of Hades' family, Persephone, the wife, and Zagreus is um, his son and the main character's brother. And you get the sense that something bad has happened to the whole family, but Melinoe, who is the main character, was saved by the witch goddess Hecate at some point very early in her life and has grown up now to face the Titan Kronos, who is involved somehow in the tragedy of her life. So there is some very deep lore going on here, and already you're getting it as you dive into the game. But there is also a lot of like Supergiant is so good at narrative and drip feeding and giving you humorous moments. I'm already in love with Phrynos, who is a frog, a giant frog that you can stop by and like hug every time you come back to the hub world and just talk about how your day went, how your run went. Um, the characters are all you can feel the love, you can feel the jealousy, you can feel the hopes and perhaps not so hopeful so much that you want to win even though you don't know really what's going on. You want these characters to succeed, and on top of that I think they've done a really good job in this playthrough that I've played so far of making every single run worth something. Even if you barely got through or if you got to the end boss, you're coming back. They've got um a cauldron that you can throw ingredients into and things will appear. Like you can talk to the fates at one point if you get something, or you can summon a merchant and now the merchant's there, so you have to get bones because that's the only currency he understands. Or um going through and now there is some sort of like gardening type mechanic where you can find seeds and grow them, and then when you get them, you can unlock things from the scroll of the fates that are kind of mini side quests. So like you've got tons and tons of things on your mind all the time. You're trying to get more materials to unlock tools, which will help you get other materials, which will help you unlock more weapons. And the only two that I know of in the game so far are the witch's staff, which is a kind of mid-range spear type
Yeah.
thing. Feels really good. You got to get it's good to stand back a little bit and get out of everyone's way. And then you have kind of two daggers, which is a really up close, fun, personal type. I really enjoy it, and it's not good because I don't keep an eye on like projectiles coming at me because I'm just like I'm getting in. And some of the upgrades so far are just so you feel real powerful. You're knocking people back, you're pulling people in. You have the ability because you are a character who has been taken in by this sort of witch like uh goddess. Your powers sort of reflect that. So one of your powers is called cast, and it puts a circle on the ground, like a little summoning circle that holds people in place with ghostly hands, so that you can run around and sort of attack them. And all of your attacks, if you hold down whatever button for the attack has an omega attack, so and it's all
Ooh.
magic based. So I feel like there's a lot more magic involved in this particular version of the game. So there's just a lot that even just from this early like play test, obviously it's a play test. They're not even in early access yet, but um there's a lot going on. There's a lot of layers going on, and I am super interested to see how it all kind of builds up over time and keeps you going. And I know there are a lot of people who played the original Hades, got to a certain point, and were like, I can't keep going all the way through. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not getting any worth for it, and then just kind of fell off from there. So I'm wondering if they are using all of these to help fix that problem so people don't
Mm,
fall off that easily.
interesting.
Um, and we'll see. I wonder if they have other things that they are introducing for that reason. But and of course, everybody's like favorite, like all the sexy gods, seeing like everybody new and all the new interpretations. They're so fantastic. I took about a minute breaking down Aphrodite because I don't know, like I remember her being sexy from the first game, but like she's sexy in this game. I'm like, you are not wearing anything except she is wearing like full sleeved and like thigh high, like golden boots. And she's got a shield and a wand, sickle sort of thing, spear that looks a lot like Sailor Moon. And I'm like, I am
Hmm,
so fascinated with the iconography here. Um, so yeah, you can go check that out if you really want to see me dive into all of that. But
love
it,
it.
they love this the source material. They love this game. You can tell they're putting so much into it, and they have a new story to tell, which I absolutely am in love with. It's great. Everyone, I hope, gets to play early access when it comes out. They are ending the playtest on Monday, the 29th, which is probably when people are hearing this. So sorry, everyone. Um, I also really love, and you guys probably talked about this, how the playtest has worked either intentionally or not as a wonderful, wonderful marketing plan
Yeah.
for the early access release. Obviously, people were going to be excited for Hades 2, but with the added element of like, please let me in, I want to play. Everyone is doing it. My friends are having fun. Now, when they release an early access, like everyone who didn't get a chance to play it and everyone who did get a chance to play it is going to be on it day one. I think that's genius.
Yeah, masterfully executed. Yeah, it's I love hearing you talk about it. I think you're the perfect person to talk about it, and I'm super jealous you got to play it. But wonderful details, and you have such a expertise on the subject matter too. So it's really cool hearing you talk about Hades too. It just seems like a home run. Supergiant is one of those developers I just have complete faith in them knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. And it seems like they're doing that so far.
I'm curious if there's like an unknown to it when we talked about Nintendo doing that with their consoles. And I think for a lot of folks, the story in Hades was a surprise because in so many of these rogue type games, it didn't deliver the story in a way where, for me personally, I was like, yes, I died. I mean, that was a good run, but I want to see what's going on back at
Mm-hmm.
home. Like, that stuff was so compelling and so cool. And there was so much of it where very
Yeah.
rarely did I feel like, oh, this again. Like there was always something new. And I'm curious if Hades 2 ends up having something similar that is just a slight unexpected or new tweak to the genre in terms of narrative or storytelling that no one's done before, which is a lot of pressure to put on a studio who already aced it once. But I'm like, can you ace it even more this time?
Yeah, is there a sense in playing it that anything is being held back? I mean, obviously, as you said, there's only two weapons so far, so there's a
Yeah.
lot there that we haven't seen. But is there anything else that you are maybe feeling like, oh, are they holding that back?
We don't know what's happened
Mm,
yet.
yeah,
Like they are drip feeding. Something bad has happened. I have been with Hecate since I was like almost a newborn. I don't know my parents that well. I don't know why it's happened. I don't know what that means to everything happening. I for some reason the Olympians didn't know of my existence, same as Zagreus. Um, and we don't know why that is either.
yeah.
So there's a lot of story that is unfolding, and just for me being paranoid and not trusting things as they are shown, every time that I read something someone is saying to feed me exposition or dialogue or story or narrative or anything, I'm like, okay, so according to what they understand, this is how, I'm like, I wonder how much of this is going to be, there's going to be some kind of twist, there's going to be some kind of, who knows. I don't like, obviously with Zacharias's tale, we sort of knew how that was going to go. He was looking for his mom. He was going to find his mom eventually. Like, we sort of had that idea. For this, I really don't know. She's obviously looking to death to Kronos is like the tagline.
And what are those implications? Like, talk about a roguelike, a classic idea for resetting time of killing Kronos.
Yeah, what does it mean to kill time? Like, is this a God of War type situation where you're like, personal vengeance is not worth the misery and cost to the entirety of the world? Or is she going to be the bad guy by the end of this? Like, what's going to happen here? I don't know.
We said this last week too, but I'm just so enamored by this notion of fighting your way back into hell. That's kind of a cool notion to hang a game on too. That's neat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's Hades 2, and hopefully the rest of us will get a chance to get our grubby hands on it soon.
You can get the full audio version of this show by subscribing to the RSS feed, which you can find at dlcpod.com. And you can support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/dlcpod, where you will get ad-free versions of the show, video versions of the show on demand, and a whole bunch of extra content, like Wednesday's show, paid DLC, including spoiler chats, so much more. That's patreon.com/dlcpod.